morning, video games. Welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games, hosted by two very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Tommy Dasilo. I am coming to you live from the workbench, and with me, as always...
I've taken my little EXP candies and I'm ready to rock slam or whatever the fuck the moves are called. It's Ben Bonnell here.
I'm ready to tackle. I'm ready to bite. I'm ready to growl. I'm ready to leer.
That's right. It's Bundle BV. It's we're going to talk about some Pokemon this week. We've both dipped in. There's been some other interesting Pokemon news. If you're not a big Pokemon fan, skip to the end. I've played a bunch of demos from Steam Next Fest. It's not just reviewing the game, which, it might sound a lot like our other reviews of Pokemon games, potentially. There's some other weird shit that's gone down with old Game Freak.
Yeah, and can we just quickly say for anyone that chooses to watch this show every week via the video, I am on the road. I am in a spare room at someone's house in Cairns, and that is why I am podcasting today from the boudoir.
That's right.
I'm reclined on a bed. I just want it clear that this is not just something I've decided to do at my house out of laziness. This is I've been pushed into this by circumstance.
Yeah. You haven't just given the old beautifully outfitted office and studio with relevant beautiful statuettes and amiibo,
paraphernalia. Yeah.
You're on a honeymoon with your new beau, Josh Earl. You've both given your partners the old heave-ho, and you've eloped to Cairns, which I think is beautiful.
Yeah, we're doing gigs up here together, and we're staying at a house of the person who runs the shows. And there's two bedrooms. One of them has a desk, and Josh is working on a TV show. So he took the room with the desk because working on a TV show outranks doing a podcast about video games for a couple of hours.
That's unbelievable to me. That's unbelievable. That TV show's going to last one season. This is a 10-year operation.
I would argue that perhaps the viewership of what we do may be getting a few more eyeballs on it than an ABC show at this point, but...
I would argue that with strong evidence to back it up. But
anyway,
I am... his podcast, I would respect that. I would have a level of, okay... You know, he needs to get some more listeners for that. He needs to bump it up to reach the heights of Filthy Casuals. I can respect him putting the hours in, but no.
I mean, I would have felt bad taking the room with the desk to do 2 hours of audio recording on it and then fuck off to the beach right after lunch and just leave him to be typing away, curled up on the edge of a bed.
Yeah, but it would have been funny.
It would have been very funny.
Shout out to the great Josh Earl. We love him. Listen to his podcasts and go see him live whenever you can. And if you're in, well, there's no chance that this will get to people before they can see you in.
No, it's done. We got our last one tonight.
Yeah.
But listen to his, I think it's going up in the Four Burners feed. I did an episode of his Don't You Know Who I Am show in Brisbane, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, great.
So yeah, just wanted to sorry to derail what you were saying. I just wanted to clarify for anyone on the video that is why I am coming to you from the actual workbench this morning.
I'm in my regular spot. Louis is lying on my foot, having a nice little snooze.
Oh yeah.
And it's actually down here a perfect fucking day to A, talk about video games, and B, play them a little bit.
Oh yeah. I've been putting some time into this latest Pokemon Legends Z to A. But yeah, before the game dropped, as you were mentioning beforehand, there was a massive leak. I don't know what it is about the cybersecurity of Game Freak that leaves them. I feel like there's one of these like every 6 months. They might be the combination of like they are constantly getting hacked and having these huge leaks, and they just are a company that people are, Pokemon is a franchise that people have an endless degree of fascination as to what is coming up, what the future plans are, especially now that they have all these like different spin-offs and yeah, a bunch of interesting stuff in this leak. So I guess the main one being that there is they're, I guess, in development. One of the main things is like a document that is their roadmap for the next few years.
Yeah.
So I guess the main thing that they're working on is the Gen 10 of the Pokemon franchise. This would be the next mainline entry. It's called Wind and Wave. And see, this is the thing about, and I guess we'll get into this. Kind of weirdly, all of this stuff does tie into the actual, game that we've been playing this week as well.
Right.
But in these leaks, you read a lot of this stuff and you go, that sounds really cool. And if any other company was making this, I'm sure it'd be really fun to play.
Yeah.
But this is Game Freak, so it's kind of hard to get excited about any of this stuff.
I know, yeah. I'm just reading about it there's like a Resetterer thread that has the roadmap. It has, a bunch of the leaks. I think a lot of the images and videos have been taken down, been copyright struck, but there's like a comment which is like, the mock-ups they always use make me sad because the games always end up looking nothing like them, which is...
Yeah, someone posted what the mock-up was, or the like early tech demo thing of the most recent of Scarlet and Violet. And it's it looks incredible because it was like the first open world one, and I think that leaked a while ago, and people were like, "Whoa!" And then comparatively, it looks nothing like that. And so the Wind Wave one apparently is going to be set in a sort of Southeast Asia inspired region, and have elements where you can go underwater, which just really feels like. Okay, so this is another one where you're biting off more than you can chew, and it will not run very well. It's like you were able to get the open world version eventually running pretty decently on the Switch 2 with an upgrade patch. Just play it safe.
Yeah. I mean, and again, as with, the area with like the wilds bits, it was a restricted version of that. Like it was closer to open world than previous mainline ones, and Arceus was, an actual open world. But you'll be swimming between the nets, basically. You'll be swimming between the flags, I assume. At least
they are apparently developing a new engine as well, which gives maybe a bit of hope. Like maybe they have started to feel the restraints of what they've been using and how they've been doing it in the last couple of games. But it just hearing that. I think at this point, hearing that they're kind of going to extend themselves and try something new that would be pushing the hardware is like. That's not your strength. Like, hearing the core first-party Nintendo teams are going to try and really go for it, like the Zelda team are able to kind of pull it off, then great. But with these guys, it's like, nah, guys, less is more. Do a pixel art one.
Do a linear pixel art one with a story, clear progression. I mean, we'll talk about it with Z2A, but they either overreach or they promise more than they deliver. Like they will describe what something is going to be, and what they have always actually been intending it to be is a shitty version of what they describe. But so that's like you say, next year. The next Legends game probably is going to be the year after that, 2027. And then the other note is that the next mainline, Gen 11, is probably not until 2030, which when I read that initially was like, wow, that's the future. But it's actually not that far away.
4 or 5 years away.
Yeah. And the Legends games I do still much, much prefer to the mainline ones. And so it is great that we're getting another one in a few years. That is, I have to assume, is not going to be cross-platform. They're not going to hamstring that one as the current one appears to have been. But just another fucking giant leak. I didn't realize there was one last year for Game Freak. And then obviously, there was the big Nintendo one before that. But these fucking guys, everything about the way they operate as a business seems to be real dumb.
Yeah. Well, there's also one that they're working on that's in this leak is a sort of I think it's like an MMO that is a combination of the regions from the first, I think, like 3 or 4 mainline Pokemon games, which sort of like a remake of like, yeah, a massive thing of all of those regions from that game, those games kind of put into the one sort of concept, which could be cool, could be a neat idea, but yeah, I don't know if they will be able to pull that off, but
yeah,
who knows? Because one other thing that was in this that I found fascinating is the budget for this game, Pokemon Legends ZA, that has just come out. The budget for this game was 13 million, or the equivalent of 13 million US dollars, which obviously sounds like a lot and is a lot, but to put that into perspective, a game like, for example, The Last of Us 2, the budget for that was 220 million. So this is like even a lower end AAA budget. This is like a tenth of that, which seems insane. I understand wanting to keep budgets, like bigger budgets don't necessarily mean better games, and I totally understand the logic of keeping the budgets down so that the pressure to recoup all of that is less. I understand all of that, but like you could double the budget for Pokemon Legends ZA and it would make such an immense difference on the end product whilst still being comparatively fuck all.
Yeah, like... seriously. Yeah, it doesn't... It just screams of cost cutting because they know people will buy it. They're relying on this inbuilt audience, and they're like, people will buy anything with Pokemon branding on it, and that appears to be true. Like has borne out for previous games, and it doesn't really matter how good they are. If they look like a game from 3 generations ago, people will still buy them.
Well, this is the strange thing, and I think where the problem stems for is that Game Freak are in such a unique position where they are a games developer. They are simultaneously beholden to the Pokemon Company, which is the ones who are, dictating a lot of this stuff. And they are also beholden to, I imagine, Nintendo, who are the ones who release the games. So I don't really know where something like this budget comes from. Like, the Pokemon Company would make so much money from the all the other merchandise, the toys, the card games, all of this stuff. So, I mean, maybe to them, the games are sort of a bit of an afterthought, a bit of a drop in the ocean. Like, I don't know where the games rank in terms of like what they bring in for the company. Like they probably aren't the number one earner for the Pokemon Company. And I don't know if it's Nintendo dictating this or whether it's the Pokemon Company or whether it's internal at Game Freak. Because remember they announced a little while ago, I can't remember if it's coming out on PlayStation or Xbox, but Game Freak are working on another game for one of those consoles. That looks great. That looks so different. That looks quality of graphics wise looks great and looks like it has a lot more money in it. So they are capable of. I mean, the game's not out, so we don't know how it's going to actually play. But they are capable of working at a higher level. So I don't know where this directive comes from, but it's a shame to see because I guess we can pivot now into talking about the actual game with all of these thoughts in mind. I mean, going into it and knowing that this was the budget and that what it could be with a bit more money put into it, not to say that more money equals a better game, but I mean, I think in this case I really like so much of what is in this game.
I think the battle system, I think, is way better than previous ones. Maybe not necessarily much better than Arceus, because it was similar and you could roam around and you yourself, the character, was were forced to like dodge attacks from bosses and things like that.
Yeah.
And it was, pretty complex for a Pokemon game and quite enjoyable and engaging. And I haven't got super far into this yet, couple hours at most, which I'm basically still in the tutorial. But it seems to be a little bit less of positioning the actual main character. But compared to stock standard mainline Pokemon games, there's a bit more to it. It feels more fresh. It feels more active. I like it. I think it's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't really know, like, what, like, this being a follow-on, this being, like, the second of the Legends games, I don't really know, like, what the distinction is meant to be at this point, because, like, one of the main things about Arceus that I really liked is not as prominent in this one, in, like, the checklisting and the sort of little tasks that you had to fill out. That is kind of in the background of this. And meanwhile, the battle system is completely different from Arceus. And it also is just one map that you are walking around in. Arceus had that little base, and you would unlock new areas that you travel to. It wasn't like a fully open world thing. It was like these contained little areas, which to me, that kind of felt like, well, that's the formula. You've got your base, you're traveling out into these different areas, and you're doing your little tasks of having to fill out the Pokedex with getting little stamps for, I've caught, 3 of the little butterfly guys, or I've seen this guy use this sort of attack 4 times, or whatever it was, all the very specific little objectives you got. And then this, in all of its setup and format, is like completely different. So I don't really know what the distinction is, what they consider to be the core tenets of the Legend series, and also how this is meant to differ all of that much from a mainline game, other than just they're not introducing new monsters in this one. That really seems to be the only point of difference.
Yeah. I feel like if they had to say what the distinction is like, well, the normal ones are very similar. They follow the same format, the same gameplay
Getting the
style.
gym badges. Yeah.
And then the Legends games are just different. They don't have to be the same as each other, but they're always different from the mainline games. And then, I think you're right. The structure of this current one, it's like, okay, you're in one city, and that city is basically open world. But then apart from that, it is earning these tickets / you're basically doing the structure of a gym tournament. You're basically just doing the exact same thing that you would do. You just don't get the adventure across the country and, finding new places with new aesthetics and new, music in the background and new Pokemon in new areas. It's, I don't know. It's an odd turn for them to have taken with this one.
Yeah, let's give a bit more of a breakdown of like the kind of how it's structured. So you turn up to this city, and very very Pokemon style, long drawn out introduction tutorial. So you're roaming around this city, and within the city there are these little the kind of the conceit is that this is a city where Pokemon are kind of wild Pokemon are living alongside people. And there are these little zones, these little wild zones where they're kind of, they're sort of defined by a little kind of force field thing that's around them. And you enter in, and then that's when you're getting into, I guess, the meat and potatoes of what Arceus was kind of all about. These little contained sections where wild Pokemon are roaming around. And some of them you can sneak up on and just like throw a Pokeball at and catch them. And other ones you might need to do the classic Pokemon thing of battling them a little bit to wear their energy down. And yes, the big point of difference in this one is that battles are now real time. And that is, for me, having played a few hours of the last few that have come out and not being particularly grabbed by any of them, this is such a breath of fresh air. Like, especially in the early battles that you do, that in these games are always so dull. You have one attack at your disposal. You just take turns to tackle. You do that 3 times, and the enemy Pokemon dies, and that's it. And that's basically still what you're doing here, but it just gets through at such a more rapid clip. Like, all of the attacks have a little cooldown to them, but it just makes it feel more like what a point that we should have arrived at with this series a long time ago, which is, this is what you imagined it to be like when you were a kid. This is, you want to feel like this is a real living, breathing world where having your little guy running along next to you makes it feel very, realistic and immersive and more like what you imagine this world to feel like. And the thing of, like, here is a stop-start turn-based battle just doesn't feel like an organic, way that this would play out if this was the real scenario.
Yeah. And I think it has come to reflect even other turn-based, like actually turn-based games that have come out in the past couple of years where there's a level of dynamism to that combat on as well. Like, even if, like, games with, like, Clair Obscur, but also other JRPGs where it's like, no, there's a quick time thing, there's something to engage you within a turn-based combat system. And this, like you say, every ability has a cooldown, so it does limit you to a semi-turn-based sort of, when you just really step back and look at it bird's eye view, but it feels better. It feels better.
It feels better,
more
and
like
it feels like
cartoon, right?
Yeah, and you have these moves that in the turn-based ones I just never use, like the defensive ones, like a Leer or a Growl or whatever. I just never bother because it feels like a waste of a turn. But here, you kind of do use all your attacks because you're like, well, that one's cooling down, but I've got these 3 others that I can just use. Like, okay, I'll throw this one out that lowers the opponent's defensive stat just because, like, that's the only one that's not, that's available to me right now. So, it just makes it feel those, like, early battles that can be such a slog. It just means that you kind of clip through them a lot quicker. So you're in those wild areas, and that's where you're finding a new Pokemon, catching your new Pokemon, and then when it changes to nighttime, you have these battle zones that you go into where you're fighting other trainers, and you're basically trying to rack up points in order to earn a ticket to challenge an opponent. The ZA in the title refers to the fact that you are trying to climb the ranks from Z to A through this tournament system. So you'll go out into the wild areas at night, into the battle areas. You'll battle some opponents, some other trainers. You'll need like a set number of points, which just basically you get sort of the same number of points from every battle. So it might be like once you've done 5, then you can go and challenge the person that's going to mean that you beat them and you increase your rank. And then you do that and you're back into the daytime cycle. And there's little side quests of people throughout the city that want you to do stuff for them. There is the checklisting stuff from Arceus, but it's just kind of in the background. Like, it's like it's there, but you kind of do it by accident, and it's not like. So I think, like, my perfect game would be a cross between this and Arceus, because I went back and played a bit of Arceus just to kind of see what it felt like. And it's so much vibier. The setting is so much cooler. The UI is more interesting. The thing of going out and ticking off all these little tasks and finding out all this stuff about all the different Pokemon and then reporting back to the guy. And he ranks you and you get points for how many of them you've done. That dopamine thing, that dopamine hit of, like, crossing off those little tasks, I fucking loved that. And to me, that was like what I was like, oh, the Legend series is that's what this is. It means that you're like, again, you're filling out the believability of this world and the reality of these little creatures. And yeah, that kind of being sidelined in this is like, it's very optional. It gets you some new moves that you can use, but it's not, I think you can basically ignore it if you want. Right. And I would love this to have a bit funkier of a setting, a bit cooler presentation. I mean, Arceus didn't run great, but it just, the art design of it is like way more interesting, way nicer, way vibier. I would love basically all of that stuff, but with this real-time battle system, I think would be like the perfect Pokemon game. And in fact, even
Yeah.
if they just put a Switch 2 patch for Arceus that made it run a bit smoother and a bit crisper, I don't know why they haven't done that yet.
Yeah, because the setting of this one, it's basically Paris.
Yep.
And then the aesthetic is very similar to all the previous, I guess, the more recent mainline games. It's very clean. It's very boring. It's every character
really
model
flat.
kind of looks the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and knowing that stuff about the budget, it really sticks out. There are so many things like, I don't know if I need these games to have full voice acting, but they don't even have the Zelda thing of a character going like, ooh, like as, you're seeing their like a little noise. It just feels... I keep having this feeling of that I'm like playing some small studio's first game and feeling like, man, they've pulled off something, pretty cool here for a small team. And then I remember like, this is perhaps the most profitable franchise in all of pop culture, and I don't know why they have refused to spend a decent amount of money on, again, like good graphics don't make a game great, but I think for something like this, if this world had a little more, more flourish and more budget to it and just felt a little more, a little flashier, it really would make me enjoy the game probably 20% more. Like, this is a world that some of these creatures just look, and again, we don't need them to look realistic, but just have a little bit more oomph to them. Like it looks very mobile game, and at least it runs smoothly on the Switch 2. But the art direction is like fine. The character models look pretty good. The clothes that you can get are interesting. The city doesn't look bad, but it's just, I mean, it's real mobile game. It's just really flat.
It's flat and empty, and even like, when you jump down from ledges to like the floatiness, it all feels like a polished, like a bare bones HD remaster of a game from 20 years ago.
Right. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Yeah.
I had the same thing that happened when I was playing Sonic Crossworlds, the shitty Switch 1 version, where like Bridget walks into the room while I'm playing Pokemon ZA and is like, when is this game from? It looks like shit. It's like, it just came out. But it does. It just doesn't look remotely close to even a simple, cutesy JRPG style of contemporary games. It just looks like an old game that's got a lick of paint.
And I know they've had to, develop this in tandem to run on the Switch 1, and perhaps they felt quite, gun shy or whatever from the response to Scarlet and Violet, so they wanted to stay in their lane a little more. But again, like, Breath of the Wild was this huge open world with a beautiful art design, and it had its flaws on the Switch 1, but it wasn't a disaster. Like, if you can get that to run, you can do a little more with this. And even things like people online have been talking about the all of the buildings are just a flat, like the windows and the little balconies and stuff aren't, they're not polygons, they're like just a flat
texture,
of wallpaper texture. Yeah. I don't really care about that all that much. Like, they look fine. Like, it doesn't... There just are certain things, like, I think the UI, just bits of the presentation, just, little bits of the world, little bits of how it feels. Like, again, with what you could make this game feel like with double the budget, which would still be so low comparative to the kind of money these games bring in, it would be immense. And, I wonder... I mean, if it continues to sell and get good response, like, there's no reason for them to change this, which is kind of the disheartening thing. Like, I don't think they're ever going to turn around and be like, let's spend way more money on the next mainline one. Like, I think the mainline ones get a little more budget, but I think it's only up to still 20 mil as opposed to 13, like, which is still for the scale of what these kinds of games are operating on is not all that much. But I will say, negatives aside, that loop I'm really enjoying. I am loving the difference to the to the battle system. The way that you now you assign your moves from a little menu.
Yep.
So you kind of will get a notification like, hey, you've got a bunch of new moves that this one has learnt, and you've hit your limit of 4. So you get to go in and be a bit strategic about what you're choosing to replace. And just it's still, there's a reason why people that are our age still care so much about this franchise and bother to discuss it there's a reason why a leak is big news, because people still have a lot of fondness for these games in spite of their issues. What is underneath there is so compelling. These little fucks they're great. They're they still resonate with people who have a fondness for the original games, and they continue to find, like, Lauren's nephew loves Pokemon. You hear this all the time, that like little kids now are getting into it. Like, there's a reason for that. Like, the fundamentals of what's there is like, this is such a compelling world, and walking around this city and seeing these people that have their little fucking different guys, like following them around like they're little pets, it's cool. I wish the world that they present to us felt more like what we imagined it to be in our heads when we were playing this on the Game Boy. Like, we have the technology to have a game that is like that at this point, and to still have it be sort of held back and feel very video gamey is a little frustrating, because there's no reason why we shouldn't be. Yeah, I get that it's too much of a cash cow to experiment too much, but why have this spin-off franchise if you're not going to try a little harder with it?
Yeah, and it's not an experimentation that has a lot of risk attached. If all you're doing is putting enough money in to get voice acting to increase the complexity of objects and people in an open world, improve the engine so that it actually runs the game properly on, all of the titles that were on the Switch 1 could have run so much better. And like you say, we had the comparison of other much bigger games, much broader in scope, that were able to run to an acceptable level. It's not an experiment or it's not a risk to just add in the capability to do the things that similar open world games do now. Yes. It's only going to make more money for you if you improve the game.
This is an embarrassing thought to admit to having, but I was playing this on the plane yesterday, and I thought, this game is utterly rizless. Like, can you imagine the Persona team having a crack at something like this, having some fucking like dynamic shit happening in battles and like, when you open your Pokédex, it should look like the fucking coolest app you've ever seen in your life, but instead it's this like sterile, clinical. It's kind of, remember we talked about the card game app, and it's like, why does this feel like some the app for like a pacemaker that you're like control, like it feels even like medical software.
Like Google Maps has more riz, like it
right.
Truly. And like, sure, it's vibrant, it's bright, it appeals to kids, but like, there's so many comparable games that are more artful, are more thoughtful, have more care put into them, and appeal to kids. When you've got when you have a cash cow, you can afford to experiment, because people will still buy this game. They'll still buy all of the merchandise, all of the associated games and apps and side fucking products, and it's always going to be a self-sustaining brand. So fucking make a good ass game and stop getting like 7 out of 10s on every release for the past 25 years.
But just to put a bow on, the review of it, I mean, we are being, I guess the reason that I'm so negative on the frustrations I have with it is because I'm really enjoying the rest of it. So, like, I know I've seen a few people in the Discord be like, oh, I'm waiting to hear what you guys think of it. And I do really like it. If you've ever liked a Pokemon game, I think you are already across the fact that you are having to give a pass to the quality of the graphics and the presentation. And I think especially if you have a Switch 2, I will say, like, it runs great. It does. Like, it doesn't look amazing, but it's like, it's crisp on that screen. There's no issues. There's no like, it's a smooth 60 frames a second. The loop that you're in is very compelling. There is enough fresh, different stuff in this concept that is like fun and enjoyable and makes it feel like yeah, I think all the other mainline Pokemon games I've played in the last little while, you feel like you are doing the exact same first couple of hours again and again and again. And this is sort of one of the first ones that really feels like it is mixing it up. And the slight change to the battle system does make it feel like a pretty huge leap forward. And it is a bit frustrating that a lot of that other stuff isn't up to scratch to the same level, but I don't think it's not terrible. It's just frustrating that it's not a bit better. Like, I would still, if you have an interest in a Pokemon game, I would still recommend this as a fun time. I will say, the music is fucking great. The music is the one thing that feels like it's had a lot of like effort put into it. There's like some stuff that sounds like it's pretty full band, very jazzy, and like a lot of the battle themes are really like fun and funky, and that is an area which feels like it's had a lot of care put into it. And the stuff that you can buy to dress your character up in, there's like a high level of that. It's not all it's not all kind of underbaked. It's just the overall presentation of it. But yeah, I would say still worth checking out if you have an interest in this franchise at all.
Yeah, I think that based on the games that I've played in the franchise, it's probably the best modern one as an overall package. Like, I do agree that most of the things about Arceus that we liked more are lacking in this game. The aesthetic, the presentation, the vibe, the atmosphere. But comparing it to any other of the mainline games since the first generation, it's better than those, like it's better as a modern game. And while we say like visually it's not good, we mean it's not creative and it's not flashy and it doesn't have a lot of character. Technically, it's great. And as you say, the performance is fantastic. There's nothing about it that is jagged or rough. The whole game is very, very polished. It just is lacking a bit of the detail you would hope for in a modern AAA game.
And I think a big part of that too is just the fact that they've had to develop it to run decently on the Switch One is probably a big problem with that. And look, who knows? I mean, if they're working on a new engine and the next mainline one will be a Switch 2 exclusive, who knows? Maybe we will start to see a bit of a higher level of presentation. But I'm looking forward to playing more of this game. It's having my little fucking crocodile running around with me and getting him to run off and go bite some pink shit that's on the side of a wall. It's it's cool. It's
I've gone with T-Pig.
Oh yeah.
Is it?
Yep.
Which just looks like a little pig dog kind of thing, and yeah, great. That is a great design. I really enjoyed the three designs of the main ones you could choose from, and I mean, I think I'm over my initial like. All of them are stupid except the first 150. Like, I think I'm down with all the current new Pokemon that you can get, and they're mixing.
That is the nice thing about having not really. Yeah, that is the nice thing about not really having stayed up to date with any of them. Is like, to me, most of these are new. Like, I went back through my Arceus save, and you got your little hippo guy and your little Again, I just there were so many things where you would go into these different regions or these like kind of different biomes in Arceus, and this guy's like frolicking around in the mud, and these guys are up on the cliffside doing this. This is just like a grass patch in the middle of the city where there's like 8 different ones hanging out, and it just lacks that sort of I'm on a safari. Like, I'm finding these guys actually out in the wild that the first one had. That, like, I immediately, like, when I opened up my Arceus save, I was, like, going through my little team, and I was like, oh, yeah, right, that guy. And I felt like I kind of, this sounds so dumb, I knew them a lot better. I was like, oh, that's where this one hangs out. That's what, that's what's specific about this one as a little creature. And all the ones I've found so far in this one, I'm like, oh yeah, that one's a little bird. Okay,
that's
this one has this. This is a type of attack that I don't have in the party, so I guess I'll put him in. Like I don't feel like the same. They just kind of feel like these little random guys that I've found running around. That I'm like, okay, I've got you now. Great. I don't feel like, oh yeah, I found. These ones are all sort of in a similar region. These are kind of these sorts of animals. These are these sorts of animals. It's kind of lacking that for me, but yeah.
It's like you say, it still has that incredibly satisfying loop. that has been there for 30 years. And as a like child-friendly or a simplified version of a JRPG with party members and stats and elemental attacks and things, it still is a perfect, simplified little concrete version of that, which is never going to not be fun, I don't think. It's always going to have that there as the core. And then I do like the progression of we're in this league and we're moving up rank by rank, and it's going to get harder, and you're going to have to experiment more with the Pokemon you've got in your team. I'm enjoying that. Like you say, it has flaws, but for a Pokemon game, I truly do think it is one of the better ones that I've ever played. We just know that there is potential for more.
Slight spoiler here, but this has been going around online, is that when you get to like rank X, I think you beat the person that's rank X, and for some reason there's like this, people have kind of clipped out the cutscene and put it online. It's like you go from, for some reason you go from X all the way up to like F. So this whole conceit of going, you work your way through the alphabet, and then they bail on it almost immediately and cut half of it out, and it's like, you wrote this game. Like, no one made you do this scenario. Like, why have you come up with this thing and then immediately found a way to get around it? Just call it, come up with, like, the number of battles that you want to do and then find an analog for that and call it that. Like, what?
Totally. That is bizarre. Do L to A, and then the DLC is Z to M.
Right.
Fucking...
Come up with something else. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. No one made you.
Because it's like, if they do every rank, it's only 26 ranks. Like, that's not... I was already thinking, like, that's not a very big game, but that's...
And they're all taking place
insane.
in the one region. It's not like you need to, like, build and model a new gym for all of these people. Like, they're just little guys that you're dotting around the map.
Yeah, which maybe they thought, like, it'll get too repetitive, which apparently I think I've seen, a bit online that it does get a little repetitive towards the end, but also all of them they're all very similar in terms of structure. You're just having Pokemon battles and trying to get better and stronger
I understand that they maybe didn't want to. I don't know why they haven't done this yet. I guess to not eat into the sales of this new one coming out. But I really do hope they put a Switch 2 60 frames texture upgrade patch for Arceus, because just dipping it back into that save, I was like, man, I should finish this game off. I was like, the difference was insane to me for this being like a follow up. Like, how much it just does not feel like it's in the same franchise is crazy. And I was like, man, I want to finish this. I've got my character's got this like cool sort of like, I don't know, kind of this like old samurai kind of look. I've got these like funky wooden sandals. I'm like, this one rocked. This one fucking rocked.
Yeah, fuck, I do forget how much of that was really cool, and the aesthetic was great. I've only got like the default clothes in this current one, so I haven't fucked around with it too much. But I am keen. And
it had, Arceus had its kind of bland, drab bits to it, and it had its kind of choppy performance. But like, it also just has this really funky, like pastel colored sky. Like the clouds look really nice and painterly, and just like, I don't know, it's weird. That one felt like it was getting a bit more to the like in the direction of having a bit more, and then even Scarlet and Violet felt like a bit of a step back in terms of the presentation and the UI and everything. So I don't know what they're smoking over there at Game Freak.
But I don't
Game
want
fucked
some.
in the head, if you ask me.
Have you played anything else this past week?
I have not, honestly. I got this game and then I fled the state. So that's basically been what I've been doing on planes and in hotel rooms, is just logging some Pokemon hours. I'm keen to play that Keeper game, the new Double Fine Lighthouse adventure. I think I'll get stuck into that when I get home tomorrow. But I was at a gig.
I was just going to say, we're both going to play Keeper. I think if anyone's keen to play something along with us before we go in, I reckon we'll both dip on Keeper, and we'll do a review between the two of us next week. So just letting people know, if they want to go in.
I had dinner last night with a friend of the show, Michael Hing, and he was telling me that he got a Switch 2 and that he's been playing a lot of Hades 2. And I said to him, "Yeah, I know, because we were at a gig together last night, and I was sitting behind you up the back of the room while you weren't on, and I was just watching you play Hades 2 on your Switch 2." And he said, "I was maybe a bit weird of me to be sitting at the gig just playing the Switch, wasn't it?" And I was like, "No, I mean, that's the sort of thing I would love to do and don't feel like I have the confidence to do. And to be doing that in and of itself is pretty admirable, but especially to be doing it in the company of Luke Heggie, with the fear of being bashed lingering over you was very impressive."
I mean, he should have booted up Pokemon ZA, and that beautiful French city. It really would have. It would have either placated Heggie or triggered him even more. That's not the fucking Eiffel Tower. What the fuck is that shit? Looks like a child designed it.
Yeah, he'd call you a gay nerd and then ride off on his unicycle and get out his mandolin and start strumming a little tune.
My kids have a dog and a cat, and they fucking like it.
I was in the foyer of the hotel yesterday with Josh Earl and Heggie, and Heggie had booked an Uber to the airport, and Dave Thornton turned up, not knowing that Heggie had booked the Uber and to the airport, and said, "Oh, do you want me to get the Uber?" And Heggie was like, "Oh, what? You get a priority one, do you? You get access to a better type of Uber because you're a celebrity." And it's just like, not everything is an attack. Take it easy. He doesn't know that you've booked an Uber.
Are you trying to one-up me, you rich cunt?
Yeah. He doesn't know that there's one on the way already. He just got here. Take it easy.
But also, yes, he does get access to a better quality of
Uber. He probably does.
Yeah,
he probably does.
So you're kind of justified, and maybe you should punch him.
And then he's like, "Yeah, I bet you cunts get lounge access, don't you?" It's like, aren't you flying all the time? Like, surely you have lounge access. You do a podcast about this stuff. What are you talking about?
Just no one else is allowed to have lounge access. It's just Heggie and the great
when I do it,
reformer.
Yeah, when I do it, it's convenient. When you do it, it's elitist.
Yeah.
But yeah, au revoir. Au revoir, une petite offender. You have been playing some stuff. You were telling me before. We are in the midst of yet another Steam Next Fest, something that I thought was a yearly event, but I'm gradually learning happens maybe once a month or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's seasonal. It's every 3 months.
Sure.
But yeah, I've dove in. I dove in on a few different things before Steam Next Fest. I went in on the Bubsy 4D demo.
Oh yes,
which sucks. I have to say.
They're doing a good job. They're doing a good job of honouring the legacy of Bubsy.
Right. They do constantly reference the previous games and how bad they were, and like genuinely, maybe the humor is the best thing about it. It's very lighthearted, and it doesn't lean into the tropey sort of video game humor we've kind of hated over the years. It's pretty funny and very self-aware, and the setup's cool, and the kind of it justifies its reason for existing. But then the gameplay, I just find it feels like a student Unity platformer demo. Like, it's very simplistic. It's very floaty. There's not a lot of lateral thinking involved. It's just jump, mid-air dodge, glide, and there's nothing else to it. And I think also the character design and the look of it is not to my taste.
My prediction is that I will love this. Everything you're describing, I'm like, I bet I pick this up and have the fucking time of my life.
You might.
But no, it does. The design of it does all look kind of weird. It kind of looks like, from the stuff I've seen of people playing it, that it's like been designed for like speedrunning freaks to be able to sort of like break the game and like sort of rush around in and sort of do weird stuff rather than like a kind of tightly designed, challenging platformer. So I don't know how much that really appeals to me. Like, I don't mind that sort of, stuff being designed with, like Neon White was, like, what if you made a speedrunning freak approach to gaming, but that's the whole game, and try and introduce that to people who've, not engaged with that scene before. And I thought they did that really well. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell what they're going for with this one from what I've seen of it.
Yeah, I just think it's trying to be a bit of a throwback 3D platformer, a little bit Super Mario 3D Land, like the kind of floating, very linear platforming levels that are, should be like really finely tuned, and it should have really responsive gameplay. But I'm not sure they have the skill to pull that off. I mean, not many people have the skill of Nintendo, but I don't know. Maybe you'll like it. I have seen some good responses to the demo, some good write-ups. Some people really like how it looks, which, again, it's just not my taste. But, I would be curious because you just have more of a tolerance for 3D platformers in general. For me, it takes something like a Donkey Kong Bonanza where it's like just the best one for me to really get into it. But I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't really my tempo, but it's certainly something I think, you probably should try for yourself.
Was it rushing or dragging?
I'd say it was dragging. If I had to.
When you said skill before, you reminded me, I caught up with a friend of the show, Gibby, the other night, and we were talking about games, and everything I said about every game I've been playing recently, he would let me go, and then he'd go, sounds like a skill issue. And I went, I'm going to fucking put you through the window if you don't stop. If you don't stop telling me that every thought I'm having on a game recently is a skill issue.
I mean, there's one way to avoid that, Tommy, and that is to get good.
Get good, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Also, I've just remembered before, talking about Keeper, we used to be obsessed with, in IGN reviews, they always, the phrase that would come up a lot that we were obsessed with, which was, and the script frequently had me laughing out loud. And then we'd play the game and be like, this is one of the least funny things I've ever seen in my life. Their new one that I've noticed creeps into a lot of reviews, especially IGN. Maybe it is just I'm reading the same writer of a lot of reviews and not even realizing it. But saying like the emotional story and the themes that it touches on, I was thinking about long after the credits had rolled.
Oh,
they love that.
Is a classic. That is
that
an all-time
stayed with
classic.
me long after the credits. It's like, yeah, cool. You're thinking about a piece of art for more than 5 seconds after you turned it off. Like, that's your job.
Yeah. It had me mulling.
Your whole
it over
job
in
is
the
to be
car.
thinking about after the credits. Like, unless you're writing the review with your other hand as you're playing the game, then you're thinking about it after the game.
Yeah. I walked out of the movie and instantly started thinking about something else.
I forgot everything that I'd just seen, so I had to go back and see the movie again. And it happened again. And I want to give you a review of it, but I just keep forgetting everything I've seen on the screen in that 2.5 hours. I've seen one battle after another 7 times now, and I cannot for the life of me retain a single thing that happens in it.
I mean, I've started trying to tattoo reminders on my arms and legs, but they only get me so far, and I forget again. I know John G, I think, developed Bubsy 4D, but I
that's great. A film reviewer that's like, he takes his shirt off and he's got like Mexican hairless, like a few small beers. What does it all mean? Shagging, good. Dr. Evil, bad.
Oh fuck! Memento reviewer is a fucking
Memento film critic.
Yeah.
Great.
Brother. But I have played 2 demos that I really liked as well. And I've downloaded a bunch more. I do want to get through some of these for next week's episode. The first one that I'll touch on, I haven't played a heap of it yet, but it is Reanimals, which is... I don't remember the specific history of this game, if it is from is it from the original developers of the Little Nightmares games who moved on?
Sure.
It is
because that third one that's
yes,
just come
it
out is like all different people to the first two.
Yes. So yeah, this is a separate game developed by the same studio as the first two, or the creators of the first one. And yeah, it is a similar sort of style and aesthetic. It is a dark kind of creepy, not necessarily gothic, but it has these like sort of little funky guys. You play as this little guy with like a little hood and cloak, and you begin in this like a motorboat in the middle of choppy seas, and you're like following the flashing red lights on the floating buoys as you get closer to land. And sort of the sound design's really cool. The music is like subtle, but very, very creepy and atmospheric. And you start doing these similar to Little Nightmares, kind of initially very simplistic puzzles to progress through this kind of creepy world and mansion. You start off kind of working your way through, or factory or something. It's very odd. I think, the ultimate goal is you're trying to rescue all of the friends of yours that are still locked in this place. You have like returned from escaping to help them all out. And the goal is to basically progress through with this other character who is there with you from the start. And this is very much either a co-op game or a single-player game. In the single-player mode, you are kind of using like the L button to get them to like, interact with an object, hold down a switch, whatever it may be. But co-op, I assume, completely independently controlled characters. But I do like it as a single-player thing where, I feel like there's been similar games, or there's been similar sections in platforming games where you need to, get this co-op character to hold this down while you go under the door, and then it's a common trope. But this seems like it is the entire game. And all the puzzle platforming so far has been very, very cool. And just reminiscent of their previous games, which we both really liked, the Little Nightmares games they made.
This is a cool looking aesthetic. I really like this.
It's sort of Little Nightmares mixed with Limbo or Inside.
I was going to say,
which I fucking love. And it also has like a bit more of a cinematic presentation. It's not just 2D, flat planes. It is 3 dimensions, kind of switching angles isometrically with each room you enter for, to help you out with whatever puzzle it is. But I think it has a bit more going on in terms of the narrative and the presentation. And I'm really excited to play the full game. It's
cool.
I think it's out next year, but this demo, I think it's a pretty sizable demo from what I've read. But yes, definitely worth going in on, getting a little taste of the flavor. And I'm enjoying it so far.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds neat. I'm going to check that demo out.
Yeah, I think you'll really like it. I think, based on your taste. And then the other demo is for a game that I was bound to really like, called Tavern Keeper, which is a tavern keeping sim. It is like medieval setting. It's kind of Simsy. It's one of the more specific kind of like simulation games of you get a bunch of like a little bit of money, and you start a shitty tavern, and you can put one keg down and buy one kind of beer and put one lamp on a table, and you can hire, I guess, theme hospital, or 2 Point Hospital, I guess the recent ones. What was 2 Point Academy, I think maybe was that one.
Oh yeah. Very
much in that vein. Similar kind of humor to it. The narrator, taking you through the tutorial, has a bit of fun to him, a bit of character. And I'm loving it already. It's medieval fantasy. You got orcs and halflings and dwarves and shit coming through, and like heroes, and you've got to, cater for every different patron, and you can have different types of beer, different types of games, I'm loving it. I'm loving it already.
Cool.
It's fun.
I love this because you were telling me before we recorded that you hit the pub on the weekend, and I love that you hit the pub and then you've come home and gotten on the PC and hit the pub all over again.
Oh, that's right. I just want to tweak the pub to be more to my taste. The ultimate pub, free pool, free table tennis,
Yeah, how do I unlock the sign that says "No woke allowed" that I can stick on the front door?
Free beer
How do I
tomorrow,
relax the dress code?
Yeah, that was the first thing I put up. But no, really enjoying it. I think they've made previous games, I think, sort of similar, maybe Simish kind of games. Let me just double check. They made Game Dev Tycoon.
Game Dev Tycoon, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, which I loved. That was definitely one of my favorite of those kind of games. And yeah, this is a bit more. It's 3D. It's isometric. There's more going on. But
this looks like a neat aesthetic too. This looks very pleasant.
It is. It has some nice little, medieval music in the background. And yeah, a bit of humor to it already, which I'm really liking. Apparently, it was meant to come out this year. Well, it was meant to come out last year. Got delayed to this year. I'm not sure what the current release date is. Sometime this year still, I think, apparently. But fun little demo.
Cool.
Has whet my appetite. But I think that's all I've been dipping in on this week, apart from a bit more Ghost of Yotei, which I'm still really loving.
That's the main thing I was doing before I left too. Yeah, it's great.
It's so fucking good. But that's been my week in gaming. People are being very nice about the clips we put up of Ben Russell. He's one of our faves. We love him when he goes on a fucking tear. And I'm sure, he'll be keen to come back and yell about some things in the future. But thanks for all the positive comments about B Russ. We do love him here.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's going to do us for this week. We're going to dive in on Keeper for next week's episode. If you, as we said, want to play along with us, it's apparently like 6 hours long. So might even be able to get through the whole damn thing by the time we record. But
absolutely,
I'm pumped to play this. It kind of looked like a cool. It looked like a very cool concept that really could have gone either way, because it was a little bit like, what is this game? But it's getting really great reviews, so it's nice to know that they've pulled it off. And speaking of pulling things off, it's time for us to head on out of here and pull our little puds. No, we got to do another episode.
Yeah.
Speaking of that other episode that we're going to do, get onto the Patreon if you want to support the show. filthycasuals.com.au is where you can find the link to that. We put up a whole other hour of content every week there where we talk movies and TV and other pop culture. So get on there if you want to engage in that and support the show. It helps keep things going, helps keep the lights on, helps keep the fan going in the room that I'm at. No, I'm not paying the electricity bill here. What am I talking about? Nevertheless,
Wi-Fi.
I'm not. Get on and support the show. We would really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. We will see you next time. And as we say here at the end of every episode, BV, I choose you.